Hello, hello. We are in another episode of Guanajuato guided neighborhood tours, and today we are in San Javier. We are starting here at this little plaza. This is a very important spot if you are planning to live on this side of town, because this is where you have a grocery store, a pharmacy, you have some little cafes, one hotel with spa, and like a a water bottle, how would you say it, dispenser? No, store maybe. Well, I'll explain a little bit more, but I just wanted to start with this right now. And this is the little plaza, so we are right at the end of San Javier. So this is like the end of the historical center of Guanajuato. If you have been following us in all these tours, you will remember that I started in La Presa, and I said back then that Teatro Juárez would be the belly button of Guanajuato, La Presa would be one end, and San Javier would be the other end of the historical center, because this is pretty much where all the history of Guanajuato is. And yeah, so maybe some areas were developed at some point than others, but this is pretty much the historical area of Guanajuato. And some people think that Centro is right across from Teatro Juárez, and yes, that's the most central part of the historical center. But in reality, Guanajuato is a big city with lots of culture, and sí, está bien. And this is exactly the other end of town. So in all the tours, we took you around many neighborhoods that connected all those areas. We also have shown you, at some point we took you south of the city to where Manantial was, and that gave you an idea of, like, it's something completely and totally different to here. But yeah, this is San Javier. This is like the last end of the historical center, like the main one, right? Because up there we have Valenciana, which is also a very important part of the history of Guanajuato. And also in this area we are really near, maybe like 10-15 minute walk to the pool. And in the series of Guanajuato Decoded, there's a video. If you are a swimmer, that's the place to go. There's no sidewalk, and that's why many people feel like it's not easy to reach. But if you're careful, I have seen a lot of people coming up and down, or just waiting for the bus to be dropped right outside of the pool. I wanted to show you this because this is where the Castillo Santa Cecilia is. This is a very important spot for tourism. We are not gonna go in, but I just wanted to show you where this is located. And contrary to what many people think, this is in reality not a real castle. As you probably already know, and if you don't know, if this is the first video you are watching and you are exploring Guanajuato, Guanajuato really is one of the biggest places where the mining industry was developed during the time of the Conquista, no, the colonial era of the Spanish Empire. Guanajuato was a big spot. Why? Because of silver. So Castillo Santa Cecilia was actually in what it was, una hacienda de beneficio. I don't know, to be honest, how to say that. Probably the literal translation would be like... Can you hear that? Yeah, that's Mexico right there. I don't know if you have seen videos of that girl saying, se compran colchones, lavadoras. So that what these guys do is just they pick up trash. Well, not trash, but junk, and then they sell it. Okay, so what I was mentioning, here is another view of Castillo Santa Cecilia. Una hacienda de beneficio, the literal translation would be an hacienda of benefit, which doesn't translate correctly because it sounds more like they were benefiting somebody or something like that. But in reality, una hacienda de beneficio was where back in the day, and still, no, in the mining industry, this is what they would separate the mineral from the debris, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. Sorry, I don't have the vocabulary. But these haciendas de beneficios where they will process the minerals and then get the silver and get rid of what they didn't need or what wasn't useful, no? To make a product or something like that, no? So that's pretty much what this was back in the day. But then in the 1950s, I think, if I remember correctly, somebody made it or turned it into a castle, but it's really a hotel. And right now there's like this place is very popular for destination weddings, right? Because what bride doesn't want to feel like a princess when they get married? So that's why this place is very popular. And yeah, so San Javier is a mix. I'm gonna stay a little bit on the main street, and then I'm gonna like go through San Matías and end up here. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna circle back around to this spot so that you can see it. And here to the left we have a hotel, and because of the space here in San Javier, here you will find a lot of hotels, well, not a lot, but many hotels with parking, which is very, very difficult to get in downtown area, right? You already saw the other tours, and if you haven't, go and watch them, because that's a main reason why we started these tours, because there's not a lot of space in Centro. Remember, you have a lot of callejones, and the main streets are busy with businesses, with government offices, with hotels. Very, 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 very few houses, right? So it's a very different vibe and situation in Centro. But here, like the further you start going, for example, you saw that in La Presa, and we're gonna see that here also. The further you go from the belly button, you will find more space, and San Javier has that very, very convenient side. You are near Centro, and if you want, you can go and watch our videos. Remember, I mentioned also I never edit the speed or the pace. I'm just walking, not even rushing, I'm just walking normally, so that you can see how long it takes you from Alhóndiga to here. Probably, I would say, I don't know, what, 15 minutes? I think that will be a reasonable amount of time. So next time your realtor or somebody suggests to go to San Javier, don't say, oh, it's too far. First, watch our videos and then make a decision, and then also you can come and explore the neighborhoods yourself. So here we are in San Matías. We have another video where I went back around and then I went back down towards el Mercado en Alhóndiga, and I showed you this space and I told you I was gonna go through here in one of our series. So this is where I am right now. This is called San Matías. San Matías is also related to the mining industry, right? And it's a very pretty area. I have seen rentals around this area, and also they have little coffee shops and they have some restaurants and some places. Because the mining school is around here, you will find a lot of rentals for students also. Okay, this is one street. I'm not gonna go through here, but I'm gonna show you through Panorámica where this street leads to. I don't remember if it's also San Matías or no, but I'm gonna point out in the video how this little shortcut connects to the street in like on the main area of San Javier. Okay, and San Matías is a very unique area because it's, as you can see, it's tucked right in like the historical area, because you have here all these buildings that go back to when La Conquista, no, colonial Mexico. But you also have here more modern constructions, so it will be very interesting to see. I don't think there's pictures but maybe, like, if you like history, maybe there's some books or something that have maps of how these look back in the day, no, in the 19th century, even maybe 17. I don't know, like, how far some of these locations would date to. Okay, so I'm not sure about this. I'm just gonna tell you what I have heard. But this here, Privada de San Matías, like this little house here in this corner, I have seen some rentals around here, but this house in particular, I need to research it, and if I need to do a disclaimer at the end of the video when I post it on the description, I can do it. But I've heard somewhere that the architect, or one of the architects that had something to do with the construction of Mercado Hidalgo, used to live here. So local people making local gems. That's really, really cool, I think. Okay, here you have also some offices from the government. Remember, when you have an office for the government, it's fairly secure, okay? So that's a good thing. Here, these apartments I have seen, and once in a while they become available. They are more modern, new. They have parking, which is nice. And San Javier, I mean, the little stretch that I walk, where the Castillo de Santa Cecilia is, that's like the main street. And there, as you saw, there's not a ton of things. Probably like a compound of apartments on the other side that I didn't show you. I would say that's about it regarding like real estate. It's very small apartments. They have fairly enough light. I think they are a little overpriced for the size, because I have seen them around what, like 60,000 US to 90,000 US. They are not like super amazing, but they are quite tiny, so those places sell, so I guess it works for some people. Okay, so here we have an intersection, okay, and if I were to go to the left, I would end up in an area called El Carrizo, en La Venada. And if you remember, in one of my videos I said that I would never do a tour in a neighbor that would put me in danger, or even like tempt somebody to steal my camera, which maybe is not like super special, but it's a camera, no? And El Carrizo en La Venada is an area that can be not very safe, okay? I know there's like a couple of like big compounds, gated, like apartments and stuff, and they're really nice and they are pretty safe because they have like a police officer, not a police officer, but what I want to say, like a security guard, I guess, at the entrance, control access, so that's nice. But really, you need to be more careful on that area, and I'm not gonna tour those areas, okay? But that's the edge of San Javier. And even though I said if I were to go that way, it's a long way still, okay? It's not like neighboring door to door, because if you see, maybe you don't see it, I will try to make a close-up. There's a lot of like a mountain, and actually this is important or relevant because all that mountain, like that hill, is part of a protected area, which is called El Orito, like the little gold. Many people go walking there. It's a nice place to walk, and there's some newer developments like on this side, but that's pretty much part of El Orito. And San Javier was one of those important neighborhoods where probably like the old money used to be, no, because it was near Centro, you had a lot of land to build, and San Javier was, or has, I'm sorry, a lot of big houses, okay? And probably that happens also back home where you are from, but you can recognize when a house was built because of the floor, no, the tile, the kitchen, even like the layout of the houses, right? So San Javier probably had its boom around the 80s or the 90s, because you can see a lot of floors of tile that look like that. But for example, look at this, no? There's not many houses, and we're pretty near Centro, but it's also very quiet up here in general, for the most part, because you have many stretches of land, okay, without buildings, and I think that's nice. There's right now a lot of houses available for sale in San Javier, and when I say a lot, it's not like 50, no, but probably 6, no, 7, which in a neighborhood can be weird. Why? Probably because the people who build these houses, if they're still alive, they move to the new spot where the rich live, which is Marfil, Cerrito de Marfil. And if they died, probably the families already moved somewhere else, no? León, or like a bigger city, no? And they don't plan to come back, and that's why they are selling. And I think some of the prices are high for what you would have to do, because I have seen many houses in like 5-6 million pesos, probably like around 200, 250, 300,000 US dollars. And okay, if it was a brand new house, it wouldn't be such a big deal. But because these houses are massive and they need a ton of work, remodeling, maybe even some of the structure will need to be fixed or updated, or you wanna improve it, then it's not gonna work. That's a lot of money just to pay for a property that you need then to put more money into it. So that's something that you will see here. I wish prices were a little bit better. We are members of the AMPI, I have mentioned before, which is the Mexican Association of the Realtors, and hopefully pricing will become better, because right now many owners go a bit crazy with the prices. That's a reality. And don't think it's because many people think, oh, it's the gringo prices. No, it's not gringos, because Mexicans also buy, and it's not a fair price for anybody. Even if you are like an American and you have the money, you shouldn't have to pay more than you should for a property. We think it should be the fair price, no? Anyways, okay, so another intersection, there's more streets, okay, of San Javier, but pretty much all of them are gonna look like the one I show you. And if we were to keep going that way, like straight up and up and up and up and up, we would end up in the other entrance to get to the protected area that I mentioned, that was El Orito. Okay, there's also, I think is still ranking the best restaurants the best restaurant in Guanajuato is called Casa Mercedes. That's where you would find it. And this street right here is the one I told you when we were in San Matías, that is like a little shortcut that takes you to San Matías to here. Okay, so we are parallel to that street. And for example, here you have one house for sale. It's really big, but I can, like, from the looks how it looks outside, I can already know that probably was built in the 90s, maybe updated in the 2000s, but it looks like it has been around. And yeah, so San Javier, if you were to buy a property here in San Javier, you would be able to have a parking, a garden, and views. That's for sure. Don't doubt that you will have all of those here. But the issue is the prices, no? And also, here is another house for sale. This one is right in the corner. I can already tell it's very, very big. And it has an entrance here, and probably has parking around the corner. And we are back to where I mentioned. This is exactly where Castillo de Santa Cecilia is. And yeah, there's a lot of houses like this. You can already tell it's like it's been empty for a while. So probably this is gonna be the place that's gonna have a second in Mexico we say un segundo aire, like a second air. So that's like another boom, no, where people will start considering to be here. So yeah, more like this is a street again. It will go up and then take you back around here where this blue car is. It's a dead end, and this is exactly, we are exactly behind Castillo de Santa Cecilia. So this is a little part of what San Javier looks like, and if you want to see more, I think we have an old video back when we first started to do the guided neighborhood tours. We started by car in some of these areas. So if you go to our website, you can find it. I'm gonna link it. And if I remember correctly, that tour takes you from Alhóndiga to here. And I remember I drove around like different areas here in San Javier. So if you want to have a second look, I'm gonna link that in this video so that you can watch that when you can. So again, thanks so much for watching. Please let us know if you have questions or if you are interested in a specific area. We would be super happy to help in any way we can. And that's it for today. So we hope to see you in another episode. Bye bye.